What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Pro and Bro Wrestling Podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Arnold Telegarda.
And I'm Mr. No Days Off, Fred Rosser. And this is our second guest back-to-back in the house. The compound.
Yeah.
Last week we had director-producer Drew Chimnick, who took a different route to wrestling in production. So he was here last week. And now we have my girl, Zeda Zhang. Zeda Zhang that brings the bang.
Hey.
Damn right!
She's in the house, man. I always say don't die with a story and you tell it. So having women on our Skype and having you here in person, I always say like the women's evolution is blowing up.
And also, it's Women History Month, right?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes, it is.
Like, I knew that. But I want to touch on your name real quick because I was listening to some of your interviews from the past, and you said it's actually pronounced Zhang, your last name?
Zhang, yeah, that's the proper way to say it in Chinese.
Right. Are you Chinese?
I'm Chinese.
I'm half Chinese.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, Indonesian Chinese, but I don't know how to speak Cantonese or anything like that. Do you speak it fluently?
Mandarin. I speak Mandarin.
Yeah. Got it.
Oh,
okay.
so is your family Cantonese Chinese? Where are they from?
I think so. I should know this. So I think so. But I was born in Indonesia, but I know like from my dad's side, it's all like full-blooded Chinese. But my mom is like Indonesian, so.
I know someone else that's like that too. Indonesian, but Chinese.
We're a rare breed, I feel
I know, I feel like it's very specific.
Yeah.
You better know your damn history. Like my mom would tell me about myself. Know your damn history, boy.
She'd take one of those like DNA tests, right?
Oh, yeah, been there, done that.
I'm so glad to have you here. Thank you for making the drive out here.
Thank you for having me. This
is
awesome. I'm always out here anyway, so.
But yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself, your upbringing, your past, your journey to pro wrestling and all that.
Long story. Basically, I'm born and raised in Charlottesville, Virginia. It was rated like one of the safest cities to live in back in 2010 on USA Today. So growing up there, it was kind of like I would say it was very tough because it was not diverse. I was one of the few Asians out of my whole school, probably whole town.
Me too.
And so I got bullied a lot growing up. Yeah. And then when I went off to Richmond, Virginia for college, I went to one of the biggest murder cities in the U.S. It was rated number 1 for murder for like 4 years in a row back in like late 90s and early 2000s. So when I got there in like 2007, it was still really bad. It was still rated number 4. Wow. And Richmond, Virginia, it's a big city in a small vicinity. So there was like 700,000 people just in Richmond City. Yeah. And then everything surrounding that. So always shooting, robbing, stabbing, rape, and everything all happening there. And so I went there very naive because I came from a place that's very safe, a small town. So then I go over to Richmond, Virginia, thinking nothing's gonna happen to me. Why would they target me out of all these people here? Yeah. And it was like a rude awakening. Went there for my first Halloween.
Oh, how old were you at this time?
I was 21.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Wow. Actually, I was right before 21. I was 20.
Yikes.
I was 20. So I was over there and going to a Halloween party, and this was before GPS units on your phone and stuff. And so
I remember those days.
I'm like on the phone with my friend. I was like,
MapQuest.com.
MapQuest.
Print it out.
I'm like, am I supposed to go left or right? And she goes, I'm not sure, stay there, but I was like close by.
Yeah.
So next thing you know, I see this dude drive up and he waves his hand out the sunroof window for me to follow him.
Oh shit.
And all I said was, did I just talk to you on the phone? And he was like, yeah, the party's over here. So I thought that was the dude I talked to. Oh. And so next thing you know, I drive up behind him, and then I realized there was another car with 4 dudes behind me.
Oh my gosh.
And then I'm being led down a dark, narrow alley, and I'm trapped between the 2 cars. And next thing you know, I'm on the phone with my friend. I'm like, hey, I think I'm here. I'm in the back. I'm flashing my lights. I'm like, I don't see you. And I asked the dude, my dumbass, are we allowed to say?
Yeah, of course.
My dumbass. I have the door open, my window's down, the dude's standing like 3 feet away from me. And I was like, this is where the party's at? And he's like, yeah. He lies to me and tell me, yeah. And so I'm on the phone and I keep I don't see my friend, and it felt like, I don't think it was that long, but it felt like 15 minutes long. It felt so long.
Wow.
And I was just thinking like, why don't I see her? And then I remember looking in the rearview mirror, and I see the 4 dudes in the back with all the lights off. They're like slouched in the seat, like waiting. It was like they were waiting on that dude to do something before they jumped out to do something. Yeah. And I started getting this like sick feeling in my stomach, like something's wrong.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what to do because I've never been in this situation. I never thought I'd be in this situation. Never even like crossed my mind. So I was totally unprepared. So because of that, I was just like, okay, let me stall for time. And I keep asking him the same question, and he keeps saying the same thing. Yeah, this is where the party's at. Next thing you know, my friend, she heard his voice and she goes, who's that? And as soon as she said, who's that? Like, I guess everything hit me, like reality hit me, and I realized like, oh my gosh, this is not the dude.
Yeah.
And so I started freaking out. I'm like, what the fuck? Is this not the dude that you said that was gonna come get me? And of course, he's right there. He heard me, and he starts getting aggressive. He goes, what? You don't believe me? You don't believe me? If you don't believe me, go back where you came from. And I was so lucky because this was such a long, narrow alleyway. It was only wide enough for one car. So I'm stuck between 2 cars.
Yeah.
There's no way out.
It's like a scene from a movie.
It was literally like from a movie. But I was so lucky because the building where I was parked next to, it was shorter than the other 2 buildings. So it was like this. So because of that, I was able to back up. Luckily, the car behind me was back far enough for me to back up and do this and get out. Wow. So I just shut my door and went bam.
Good for you.
So because of that, I think, I was really lucky because the reason why he didn't get more aggressive was because I was on the phone with someone.
Yeah.
If I was off the phone, it could have happened completely different. And I'm there flashing my lights and everything. I think that's what kept him from jumping in.
Smart.
Because at that time, there's all these gang rapes. Actually, one of my friends got gang raped around that month.
That's horrible.
So I'm like, wow, that could have happened to me. And so
Yeah.
it was a rude awakening, made me realize I need to protect myself. So I started taking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Nice.
Ooh.
So I got into martial arts, but I've always been interested in martial arts and wrestling because when I was 4 years old, I started watching pro wrestling.
Yeah.
She almost dumped me Saturday
What do you mean?
at LAX Fan Fest. That's why we're all here, She almost dumped me.
What do you mean by that? She almost dumped you?
I said, let's get a money shot, a hug. And I went to go hug her, and like,
is that awkward? Okay.
Whatever grip you had, it was legit. Like one wrong move, she's dumping
amazing.
me.
Always gotta be ready. You never know.
Yeah.
Never know.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it's like I watched pro wrestling growing up, but even though I was born in the U.S., I didn't really know English. You're saying? Okay, yeah. It was weird because, you were born in Indonesia? And then
I was born in Indonesia, and I came to the U.S. During first grade. And at that time, I was taking private lessons after school, but I got by first grade by these words: yes, no, my name is Arnold. And I would take private lessons, but the thing that really helped me learn English was watching the Power Rangers.
Oh, okay. Is that a big thing in Indonesia?
No, but definitely a big thing in Fresno. Where but I was already here. I was already in Fresno when I was learning English and all that.
So one of my friends actually is one of the Power Rangers. He's the first Indonesian Power Ranger.
Wow.
Yoshi.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, Yoshi.
Damn, that's
Dara.
tight.
Yeah, it's cool.
Does he go to a lot of conventions and all that?
No, he's an actor, so he just does movies and stuff.
Got it.
And some stunts.
Got it.
But yeah, I was watching, it's weird because even though I was born in the US, I have no excuse to not know English, but you know, you have an excuse. But, my parents, they were too busy. They were too busy working, trying to provide. And I was home with my grandma, and my grandma only knew Chinese. So she spoke to me in Chinese, so that's all I knew. And I was really shy and quiet growing up, so didn't have any friends. So I didn't learn English till I was I didn't start learning English till I was 6.
Wow.
So I was already in first grade. So
when you really had to, right?
Yeah. And I could only understand it. I couldn't speak it. Wow. I couldn't read. I remember I couldn't read even up to 3rd grade.
So
Yeah.
1st and 2nd grade was rough for you then, right?
All my schooling was rough.
Wow.
Yeah, all the way until like my last year, my senior year of high school. But my whole schooling kind of sucked, honestly.
Wow. Okay. Is it
but-
because mostly because of the language barrier that
It was that and the bullying
Oh,
and
sure.
stuff like that. A lot of that. And then when I started getting friends, I mean, they were
friends.
friends, but they weren't like they were kind of like fake friends.
Yeah.
And then there were some others that was just not really good influences. I don't think I was really that bad as a kid. I was like a typical American teenage girl.
Sure.
But in my parents' eyes, traditional straight Asian upbringing,
Straight A's.
they saw me as, really
Rebel.
bad. So they ended up sending me away to boarding school.
Whoa.
It was like a military boarding school.
That's crazy.
It was horrible.
Wow.
And they were gonna actually send me away to some temple in China. I'm so glad that
jeez.
didn't happen.
Wow.
Are you
but-
the only child?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I'm the only child too.
I'm the only child too. Yeah. Only child club.
Good.
Only child club.
Boom,
Damn.
Boom.
We're the real OC.
Damn right.
boom. Wow,
That's
rare.
cool.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's got like brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
But now at 36, I wish I had brothers and sisters. That's why I had 2 god babies that I always post about. That like, as far as I'm concerned, I've been with them since they were born, and they're 6. So I'm the godfather. And
Yeah.
they're like my god kids.
They're like your kids, man.
You know, you're right. I kind of wish I have like brothers and sisters or something. I've always wanted an older brother, honestly.
Yeah.
But it never happened. I never wanted someone younger because my parents would be like, I'm like, no, I want you my ass beat.
Yeah,
But
yes.
so like, growing up, I learned English really late, so I didn't know what I was watching.
Right.
So even though I was watching like WWF, WCW at the time, I just thought people were fighting. And I was like, oh, I like this. They're like fighting.
Yes.
And it was all flashy with the lights and the outfits.
Yeah.
And I was watching that because my grandma is she got me into wrestling.
Yeah.
So she always
She was a
watched.
fan?
She was a huge
Yeah.
fan. She was a huge fan because, like, I feel like with pro wrestling, it's one of those things that doesn't matter what language
Age.
you speak, what age. Like, the story still
Resonates.
is across the board.
Yeah.
Good guy versus bad guy.
Very easy to.
Yeah, solve it in the ring.
Yeah, so my grandma, she watched wrestling because she couldn't understand English. So it was the only thing she could really watch.
Oh, that's powerful.
Yeah, so she ended up watching, so I watched it with her as
Yeah.
a bonding thing. And then when we were watching that, we also watched some Olympic wrestling and college wrestling.
Yeah.
But I honestly didn't know the difference. I thought like it was a different league. I was like, oh, this is the poor.
This is the independent
lighting.
scene.
Yeah, they can't afford the nice outfits and the pyro.
That's funny.
I'm like, they're just the crappier ones.
Yes.
But I was just like, oh, because this is pro,
Yeah.
they're able to
Their
do different
budget's
things and the budget's different.
Yes.
So I've always been interested in wrestling.
Yeah.
But I was too shy and too just unconfident to go pursue it. And I didn't come from an athletic background at all. I'm just like a little artsy girl that would sit home and draw and be a total nerd.
Yeah.
And
And likes decorating too.
I love decorating. Love decorating.
Look,
love
you-
science.
Yeah.
Got a whole rock collection that I still have.
It's funny
That's
because
good shit. That's real good.
I heard that you thought wrestling was a shoot even to the day that you tried out, right?
Yeah, I didn't know until...
That is funny.
I know, it's so sad. I literally didn't know until 2.5 months, like two and a half months before my tryout.
That's funny.
Like so I got referred to WWE because I went out to Greg Jackson's MMA to train for like a couple weeks back in the day during the beginning of my MMA career. And when I was out there, I met this girl who writes for Fight Magazine, and she interviewed this fighter on ONE FC, which is like the biggest Asian MMA show. It's like the UFC, but of Asia. And so she interviewed this fighter who fought Brandon Vera, and then because of all our, like, when you go to Albuquerque, New Mexico, if you are friends with one person, literally the whole city adds you. Like every single person of Albuquerque added me on Facebook. Like I was just like, what?
You gain all these followers.
Like all these followers out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And so one of the guys that added me, because we had so many mutual friends, he added me and didn't say anything to me for years. Like just out of nowhere, he hit me up when I had already moved out here to California back in 2013, 2016. I moved out here and was training MMA at Black House MMA. And he hit me up and he goes, yeah, I've been watching your training. I think you'd be great for WWE. If you want to try out, let me know. Because he was friends with the old recruiter.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what? That's how you get in? Because I literally felt like I would never have a chance. I always thought that they only hired Olympic wrestlers, or you would at least have to win state championships.
Oh, I see.
So I was like, oh, I don't come from a wrestling background. And I tried to wrestle back when I finally got the guts to kind of try. Was in 8th grade, but by then I was in that stupid boarding school that told me I wasn't allowed to wrestle because I'm a girl.
Wow.
Oh, man.
How times have changed.
Yeah, and I was just like, are you serious? I never got to, and by the time I got to high school, I was so busy trying to get into college, I wasn't able to do anything else. So because of that.
And what did you major in?
I went for graphic design.
Ooh.
But by the time, so I started doing graphic design when I was 14.
Wow.
But at the time it was before it got popular.
Yeah.
And then it ended up getting oversaturated by the time I got to college. So 2 years in, I'm like, I'm not going to get a job in this industry. So I ended up switching my major to public relations and minor in business. Because secretly I always knew I always wanted to go into entertainment. So I'm like, you know, every entertainer needs a publicist.
Yeah.
So either I'm doing someone else's, you know, PR,
Yes.
or I should understand it at least for myself.
Right.
So that's why I went into that. And it's kind of, you know, everyone needs it across the board with every company.
Yeah.
And business is just a good thing to know in general.
Yeah.
So I felt like it really did help out. But yeah, I ended up learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because it was the closest thing to wrestling.
True.
So I'm like, okay, because you can't just jump on the wrestling team when they're in college.
Yeah.
So I ended up doing that, and then that's what led to MMA. I got tricked into my first MMA fight.
How did that happen?
So what was funny was I was only interested in jiu-jitsu, and I was doing it for self-defense. And my philosophy with like martial arts is like, don't hurt anyone unless it's for self-defense and you do the minimal amount of damage as possible. Like in my mind at the time, I actually used to hate MMA. And I used to feel like all the guys were douchebags and they were all like just meatheads trying to hurt people, saying stupid stuff like, oh, I just want to get paid to punch people.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what a douche. So basically, like, I hated MMA. But I was at this gym for jiu-jitsu when I first started, and I didn't know anything about jiu-jitsu or martial arts, so I didn't know I was kind of getting scammed. I was going to this gym that was legit back in the day, but then what happened was all these people ended up getting really good, broke off, and opened up their own gym. So the owner of that gym told the coach to not teach anyone past a blue belt level. So they would dilute the moves where it only worked on white belts, but when you get to blue belt, like you're kind of just plateauing.
Wow.
So when I realized that it was kind of scammy, and they scammed me out of being stuck on the contract for 2 years, I ended up training. I got lucky actually. So I was training really hard, and then I ended up meeting this coach that was took me under his wing and basically trained me outside of my gym. So when my contract was up, I ended up leaving the first gym and went to the second gym to follow that coach. But that coach was at an MMA gym. And since I was already paying for the fee, I was like, I might as well train in everything. But I honestly didn't care about anything else but jiu-jitsu. I was just training to get my money's worth.
Yeah.
Because Asians in me is like, I'm trying to save my money and get my money's worth.
Yeah.
And then also just to be in shape.
Sure.
So I went to do that, and then the owner of the gym, who was also the MMA coach, he came up to me every single day and was like, oh, you should fight. I was like, no, I'm not here to fight. I'm not here for MMA. I'm just here for jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
And every day for like a month and a half, he goes, you should fight. You should fight. And I'm just like getting so annoyed until one day I just told him, I'll think about it just
Yeah.
to get him to shut up.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll think about it. And then the next day he comes and he goes, oh yeah, so there's a fight coming up in 3 weeks, which is no time for a fight, especially your first fight.
Yeah.
And I had to go up a weight class because there was no one in my weight class at the time. So I'm having a fight at 125 when I was really supposed to fight at 115 at the time because I used to walk around at like 121.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, oh crap. He goes, don't worry, no pressure. Just train really hard for 2 weeks. And if you're not into it, you can back out anytime. And I was like, okay. So I'm training really hard for a week and a half. And a week and a half into it, I'm just thinking, oh hell no, I don't want to do this. I do not want to do this. And so I went up to him at the end of training. I'm like, hey, can I talk to you? And he goes, oh yeah, I need to talk to you too. So they wrote an article about you in the papers and the magazines. I was like, well, now I can't back out.
Yeah.
Fucking shit. So I ended up having to take this fight.
Oh my gosh.
And I didn't know any stand-up. I didn't know any like striking.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
man.
literally learned everything in 3 weeks. I was like, jab, cross, knee, elbow. That's all I freaking knew.
Wow.
And I didn't even know wrestling at the time.
Yeah.
Like I knew jujitsu, like stuff on the ground, but I didn't know how to get them down to the ground
Right.
and even do my jujitsu.
Wow.
So I literally learned like 2 wrestling moves the whole time. And this girl, she knew that I am a jujitsu girl, so she purposely trained to like stop all my takedowns. So during the fight, I could not get her down. And this was like one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through for this damn fight because this was back in 2009. So a long time ago. This is before MMA is where it is now. Everyone like knows the fight science and how to get your body to cut weight and all that. So the problem with me is I can gain weight so fast, but losing weight is hard for me. So everyone told me, oh yeah, just gain a bunch of weight because usually a girl who fights at 125 is cutting down from like 140.
Wow.
So she's gonna be much bigger than me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, just eat a lot and I'll gain muscle and be strong.
Right.
But no one gains muscle in 3 weeks of eating a bunch. I just got fat. I just went and got really fat. Like,
Slow? No.
oh,
Did you feel slow? Like carrying more
I felt
weight?
slow too.
Yeah.
Like I was at the time. I started at 118. I went from 118 to 133 in 3 weeks.
Jeez.
Yeah. And then I had to cut down from 133 to 125.
I bet it was fun getting to 133 though.
Oh,
Well, I'm
dude,
a
I
foodie.
ate like, no, it was, I ate so clean. It was like not good at
So
all.
it's all, like,
Everything was
good
like boiled
protein.
chicken, boiled like.
I was thinking like
turkey.
ramen, sushi.
I wish, no. Like, it was raw broccoli. I ate
man.
a pound of raw broccoli and a pound of cauliflower every day, raw. No sauce, no salt, like nothing. So I ate like that and ate 9 meals a day. Dude, 9 meals. I don't even know how I did it. But, and
It's
a
like
bunch of protein
shoving down
shakes.
medicine.
Yeah.
I was drinking 4 protein shakes in each scoop. They said only 2 scoops. I put 4 in each.
That's funny. Oh
I
my
was eating so much. Like an average meal for me was 2 turkey burger patties, 4 chicken breasts, 16 ounces of shrimp, 16 ounces of broccoli, 16 ounces of cauliflower. That was 1 meal.
Wow.
And then sometimes I would drink it with a 4 scoop protein shake and a whole banana.
Yeah, that's
in
too
it.
much.
I,
That's too
I
much.
know. I'm surprised I didn't die because I literally calculated the protein intake I took. It was at least 500 grams a day. Wow. My liver could have shut down. Like my kidneys could have shut down, but I don't know how I lived.
But you said earlier you were against MMA. Did you?
Oh yeah. So I ended up changing my mind because my coach, the jiu-jitsu coach that took me under his wing, he actually fought MMA. So he was one of those people that was really philosophical and very like artistic, and it made me change my view of MMA. I'm like, okay, not every MMA person is a douche.
Yeah.
And I saw him as an actual martial artist that does MMA just for the competition and learning other styles. So I ended up changing my mind and my views about MMA. So I was like, all right, I mean, I still didn't want to do it until I got tricked into it.
Yeah.
But like, Yeah, I ended up gaining a bunch of weight. Then I cut down to 125, which was so hard because I didn't know anything about cutting weight, and no one knew how to teach me at the time either.
Right.
Because all the people at my gym, they grew up wrestling.
Yeah.
So they just know how to cut weight. Their body's used to cutting weight, and they're guys. Guys can cut water weight like that.
Yes.
Like girls. And it just so happened that my weigh-ins that day, I was on my period.
Oh no.
Goodness.
Yeah. So it sucks because your body is holding on to water weight as a girl.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it was
man.
so hard to cut the weight. And so I didn't eat or drink water for 4 days.
Wow.
I could have died.
Oh, that's not
I'm
good.
surprised I
Yeah,
didn't
especially
die.
water in 4 days.
And it was in the summer.
How did you feel at that time? Were you dizzy, lightheaded?
No. I the only liquid I had was like a gulp of a Monster because I had to take my vitamins. That's it. Just vitamins on empty stomach of 4 days, not eating anything.
So dangerous.
It was not good. And this was in the middle of summer. It was like a record-breaking heat wave of 106 degrees or something. And I had to drive from Virginia up to DC, which was a 5.5 hour drive with traffic. And it was me and my teammates all in the car, heat blasting in the middle of July.
Sweat.
Like with the windows up, like trying to sweat it out. And everyone like dips tobacco to help you spit.
Yeah.
But I don't dip. So they had me
Don't tell me you dipped.
No, I did not dip.
You would get
sucked
so
on-
sick.
Oh, hell no. Yeah, I don't dip. So I ended up sucking on a Jolly Rancher until my tongue started bleeding.
Oh my
It was so dry.
Wow.
It was so damn dry. I'm just like trying to spit out any water. And then my coach had me drink 2 tubs of Epsom salt the night before, thinking I would shit out everything. But it just stayed in my body, like nothing came out because I had no food in my body. So I just got these 2 giant tubs of Epsom salt, and I have clay in my body because I was drinking bentonite clay to try and get whatever out of my system to cut the weight.
Yeah.
But the problem was there was nothing in my system.
Wow.
So got all this clay, got a freaking Epsom salt all in my body, like right before the fight with no food or water. And then I remember weighing in, I was only 1.2 pounds over. And my dumbass went to the coach and my opponent and was like, hey, will you guys fight at a catch weight? It's hard for me to make the weight because, as you know, as a girl, when you're on your period, it's hard to cut the water weight. And because I was literally in the sauna all day, like doing burpees, jump ropes with like layers and layers and stuff. And I stopped sweating. I couldn't sweat anymore. There was nothing to sweat. And then I slept in a sauna suit right like before my fight, the day before the fight. And this bitch, like, the coach was like, nope, you got to cut the weight. And they purposely do that to make me weaker. So I was like, okay. And which I knew was going to happen. So I had to make the weight. I didn't make weight until 2 hours before my fight. So I had no time to replenish. And then when I was fighting her, the stupid bitch kept kicking me in the uterus because she knew I was on my period.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God, stupid hoe. So I was like, yeah, I was so pissed.
Oh, did you know her? Or?
I don't know her.
Oh, okay.
I went, the only reason is because I couldn't make the weight. You have to go talk to your opponent and be like, hey, will you fight at a catch weight? And they have to either agree or not agree. If they don't agree, then the fight's off.
Yeah.
And I was hell no. I did not come all this way and do all this shit just not fight. Like, I'm going to fight. We're already here.
Yeah.
So when they told me, no, you got to cut the weight, it's like a strategy for them where they purposely make you as weak as possible. So they're like, oh no, you got to make the weight. So I had no choice but to make the weight if I wanted to fight. So the next thing you know, I made the weight, but it took all the way till the day of the fight. Because the weird thing with Virginia was, even though it was an amateur fight, it was all pro rules. And especially back, I don't know how it is now. I think it's probably more regulated. But back in the day, it was not. It was all pro rules, so you get to cut the weight the night before. And then, but the bad thing is you don't have any protection. There's no headgear, no shin pads, like nothing.
Yeah.
And all things are allowed, like elbow to the face, knee, everything's allowed.
Yeah.
So thinking back, that's actually kind of dumb because that's very dangerous as an amateur,
Yes.
to get knee to the face, you know.
Yeah.
But luckily, I don't know how I won that fight. I won that fight.
You won it? Yeah.
I won it because
yeah.
I was not willing to give up because
Was it a knockout? What was it?
it was just to decision.
Decision.
Because I tried to take.
So how long did you go?
It was 3 3-minute rounds. Yeah.
And you went all 3 rounds?
Yep, went all 3 rounds. It was exhausting. I had nothing
Sure.
in me, and I was literally just running on pure adrenaline.
Wow.
And I don't know if you've seen that one movie. I don't know what it's called, but there's that one old movie with Jet Li where right before every fight scene, everything would go in slow motion, be super tunnel vision before every fight scene. And I used to think, man, that's bullshit. That never happens. Legit, that's exactly what it looks like in a fight. Everything was so slow motion.
Wow.
It was like everything was 8 seconds off. I remember like I saw her punches coming, and I remember seeing it come, and then my body automatically moved for me, and I got out the way. It was so
kind of like the Matrix.
weird. It was like the Matrix. Dude, it was exactly like the Matrix.
Wow.
It was the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. And like when I was, before my fight, it's like I always see people fight and they always get like hyped. They're like, yeah, and music comes on. I didn't feel any of that. I just felt like really calm. And I'm just like, well, here the music started. Okay, when am I gonna get like hyped? And I'm like just expecting myself to get hyped. Even my coaches got like kind of concerned because I wasn't like, you know.
Yeah.
So they like had me hit pads and all that. But because I was so weak and messed up, I freaking pulled my neck right before the fight. And then I go into the fight. I remember the music comes on. I'm walking to the cage door closes. I'm thinking on myself like, all right, how come I don't feel nothing? I don't feel like hyped.
Yeah.
And then ding, ding, ding. She's charging at me and punches me in the head.
Oh my gosh.
And I heard my skull go boom. But I didn't really feel the pain. I just heard it. And then it was like, oh, instant. Because at the time I was like, oh, okay.
It was
blah,
almost
blah.
like your on button.
Yeah, that was my on button. Getting hit was like, oh, now it's on. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, this stupid bitch just hit me.
Yeah.
And I thought to herself, this bitch just not hit me, even though it's like the whole point was the fight. And so then we were fighting, and I was trying to take her down, but I couldn't because she stuffed all my takedowns. She knew what she was doing. She's a lot more experienced than me. She has like 3 years of Krav Maga. I have like no striking. All I have was my like barely. I don't even think I was a year in jiu-jitsu. Like I was barely. No, I wasn't. No, actually, it was 2009. So yeah, it wasn't already a year in. I was in jiu-jitsu. That's all I knew.
Yeah.
So. But I couldn't get her down to the ground. And all I knew was jab, cross, elbow, knee. It's like all I freaking
like
knew.
choreography.
So were you connecting with all those? Like, did you win
Yeah.
those strikes?
I did.
Wow.
Because I literally saw everything in slow motion. Like, I was so shocked at myself because literally in the fight, I thought like I was going through all the steps. I remember thinking to myself, duck, punch her with my left arm, duck, go down, grab, trip. Like I literally like had so much room. Put your left leg here, right leg, like one by one. Like I had so much time to think. It was the weirdest thing.
Gosh.
And I couldn't hear the crowd. I couldn't hear anyone except for my coach and the referee, and they were so clear. I heard my coach like right here in my left ear. I mean, my right ear. My the referee right in my left ear.
Yeah.
Like so close. And my opponent, I couldn't even hear her. She was on mute. It was like watching a movie in slow motion on mute. And I remember I elbowed her, and I saw her face go.
Oh, it has to be
And
satisfying.
It was so weird. I saw the like spit fly out in slow motion. And I knew there was supposed to be sound, but I couldn't hear her.
Wow.
It was the weirdest experience of my life. Wow. And I just thought to myself, that's freaking weird. And next thing you know, like, I remember I punched her, I jabbed her, and her nose broke.
Oh, goodness.
And she started bleeding.
Wait, is there footage of this on YouTube, or is there any
God,
footage?
it's so messy. I do have footage. I think it might still be on YouTube.
And this was your first fight, and
First fight.
And has there been more?
Yeah, I had a total of 4 fights, 2 sanctioned and 2 underground ones.
Nice. Very nice.
So the 2 underground ones, I was trying to get money. So I was like, paid, it was when I moved out here, and I was like really broke and homeless. But yeah, when I was fighting her, it was the weirdest thing because I remember punching her nose broke, and I actually felt bad.
Yeah, I mean, you're still human.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I shouldn't be feeling bad, especially
Right.
when this bitch has been teeping me in the stomach,
Yeah.
like
During your
knowing,
period.
knowing on my period, like, you know. So I felt bad, and my stupid ass thought to myself, you know, oh, her nose is broke, it's bleeding. Maybe I should let her punch me first.
No.
I thought that.
No.
And I was there, like, literally waiting. It felt like 8 full seconds.
Oh
I was
my
waiting
gosh.
and waiting. I'm like, why isn't this bitch moving? I'm just like, okay, well, I mean,
Like,
it's
free
either-
shot right here. Come on.
Yeah, I felt like I was, like, waiting for her to give
Oh, well,
me
you dropped your hands?
I don't even know if I dropped my hands. I don't remember. I just remember, like, waiting forever, and it felt like 8 seconds.
Wow.
I'm like, well, she's not doing anything. Well, it's either me or her. I already gave her a chance,
Yeah.
so I choose me. And I remember throwing it. I always, it felt like I just randomly throw my arm out, and it would just always land. It was
wow.
the weirdest thing.
Best case
I was just
scenario.
like, and then I punched her in the nose again. After it was already broke. So then I ended up winning unanimous decision,
Great.
30-27.
Sick.
So
Did
yeah,
you have any injuries out of that fight?
I would not from the fight. I was injured before the fight.
Oh,
so,
your neck.
No, I actually tore my ACL and LCL.
Goodness.
So my ACL is definitely for real torn. LCL, I don't really know if it's torn. I think it is. I actually just got an MRI, so I haven't seen this knee since 2008 when it happened. So I already tore my knee back in 2008, and my knee popped out during the fight, and I had to pop it in during the fight.
Wow.
I remember I stepped in for a cross to punch, and when you step with this leg for the cross, and my knee came out, and I remember just popping it in and kept going. It was like the weirdest thing because I went back to see the footage, and I looked for that 8-second pause, but that was never there. And I thought the whole time it was that slow until I went back and saw it. I was like, oh wow, there was never a pause. And then during the knee pop-in thing, it happened so fast. You could just see me go like this, and I just tapped my knee real fast. Like, it was the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I've been injured on TV, and when I'm down, I'm down. I don't put anything back in place. You know, I don't know how people do that. When I've had the Tommy John to my elbow, when that came out, I can't put it back in place and continue to match. Like, I'm out. I don't know how you.
But do you feel everything during a match, or
feel?
So some people that I've talked to, they say that they always feel adrenaline every match. I don't.
Oh, I feel adrenaline when I hit the curtain. Not like beforehand. Not beforehand by gorilla getting all hyped up.
But in the match, you feel.
Yeah,
adrenaline.
I feel, yeah. But before, I'm just breathing because I'm nervous, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, any performer I feel is nervous because they want to do well. So I'm always nervous. I'm always breathing and just like in my zone. Then once I hit the curtain, I'm okay because I hear the crowd and all that stuff.
It's so interesting. I hear that from people, but I wish I got adrenaline. I don't. I've only gotten adrenaline twice. And all my MMA fights after, I don't get any adrenaline, and it sucks.
Wow.
Like, it kind of sucks. I kind of wish, because I figured if you got adrenaline, maybe you wouldn't feel it, and you would pop it back.
It was like a burning sensation, just burning. It's just like, like I couldn't let go of it. Like I couldn't they had to stop the match.
What happened exactly?
Yeah, it just came off the apron. I took a back bump on the apron, and it just popped on the LED screen. Like, you know how like WWE has the LED screen, so it was like out further, and I just hit the right spot. And
It's actually on YouTube too.
Yeah.
I think you're facing Primo and Epico,
yeah, it was
right?
I was against like the Puerto Ricans, Primo and Epico, and yeah, just a freak accident. You know?
Is that the scar from it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Here.
Oh, so your elbow probably dislocated from
Yeah.
this top part. That's happened to me.
But I can't even watch that because I saw that, and literally you see his forearm
just
bending
hyperextended.
the way
Oh,
it's
it
not supposed to be.
hyperextended.
Yeah. It was the grossest thing ever.
But like, have you had any surgeries?
No. So what's
for you.
crazy is like I don't really believe in surgery.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because it's been proven in some articles that NFL football players who play without an ACL versus ones who play with an ACL, they play exactly the same. They play just fine.
The ACL.
But it's a rare like percentage of people, and I think I'm lucky where I am one of the rare percentage of people who can operate with no ACL, because I actually am injured now. I have no ACL in this knee too. So both my ACLs are fully torn. This LCL, MCL, meniscus all torn. This one, how bad this one is, this one is actually worse.
Wow.
And I fixed it with just physical therapy.
Yeah.
And I almost didn't get hired by WWE because they went and looked at my knee and they came back and they're like, yeah, your ACL is fully torn. We can't hire you. You're high risk. And I was like, are you serious? You saw me through my whole tryout. Like, I can obviously move just fine. Yeah. And I did my whole MMA career on it. Yeah. And then they were just like, nope, sorry, can't hire you.
And what year was this?
This was end of 2016, right before I went there.
Wow.
So I literally had already went through my tryout. My tryout was 2016, September 2016. I went through the tryout. I got my contract. I signed the contract, sent it in already. 2 days later, I get a call from Canyon. And like at the time, I was supposed to be on a TV show, The Kingdom, that MMA show with Nick Jonas, because one of my friends, Joe Stevenson, he was one of the pioneers of UFC, so he was actually the fight choreographer for that show, and he was gonna put me in and told me I was gonna get a season, but they were gonna film like from January to April, and I wasn't supposed to join WWE until June, July of 2017, but basically I went and they told me that I wasn't. It was either them or the TV show. So I picked WWE, and because they wanted me to come 6 months early to help with the Chinese crew and have us all join together. Sure. So because of that, I didn't take that thing. But I ended up doing just background stuff since I couldn't be in the actual show for a season. So I just did background stuff there. And I remember being on set and I told Joe and I was like, hey, I can't do the TV show. I just got signed to WWE. And then he was like, oh my gosh, congrats. And he announced it to everyone on set.
Oh my gosh.
And he was like, yeah, my friend just got signed to WWE and stuff. And so everyone's like congratulating me and stuff. And then next thing you know, I'm driving home after set. And this is like 6 o'clock in Hollywood traffic.
Yeah.
I'm like driving. And then Canyon calls me and he goes, are you sitting down right now? And I was like, I'm
That's
driving.
The worst thing you can say.
And I'm driving, I can stop. And he's like, yeah, pull over.
Oh, no.
And I was like, okay. And he goes, yeah, you have no ACL. We can't hire you. You're high risk. And I was like, what? Like, you saw me through my whole trial. I can do everything fine. I had my whole MMA career. I'm fine. And he's like, nope, sorry, you're high risk. And then he hung up on me. And I was in shock at the time. I was just like thinking, oh my gosh. Like, and I was moving out that week. I already quit all my jobs. I quit all my jobs. I already packed up my stuff, ready to move. And then I get this news. And I'm like, how am I supposed to go back on set after all this announcement too, on top of that?
Yes.
So then as soon as I hung up the phone, when this woman gets robbed, like next to me. This guy stole her purse.
Wow.
And I was so upset and pissed at the same time that I legit went chasing after him. I'm glad I didn't find the guy because he jumped over traffic. And if I call him, I'd probably be in jail right now. So it's a good thing I didn't react during my time of anger. But I ended up sending a video of myself doing all these knee things, like single leg pistol squats on my bad knee, and showed it to Canyon. And he goes, I'm going to search internally and we'll see. So when they had an NXT Riverside show, they had me come and see their doctors again. They put me through a whole
The WWE doctors?
WWE doctors.
Oh, like Samson or?
Westerfield. Dr. Westerfield.
I don't know. He must be an NXT doctor.
Yeah, it was NXT doctor.
Okay.
Because they were there. So he had me do a whole series. And the other guy, it was him and another guy.
What's his name?
It was when I first, like, it was even before I got hired. So
Moonlight or no? Do you know Moonlight?
No.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Whoever that was there is not there anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, it was someone else.
Okay.
It was Westerfield and someone else. I think it was an older white guy, I think. Yeah, he's not there anymore. But yeah, they put me through the series of tests, and I passed everything. And so Dr. Westerfield was like, normally we wouldn't approve this, but for some reason it seems you can operate without your ACL.
Yeah.
And so because of that, he was like, he told me that I'm the first person ever hired to NXT with no ACL. And I think probably the company, like not just NXT. So
that's in the record books.
I'm just like, I've proven it with this knee.
Yeah.
And so I think it will be fine with my other knee because this injury happened in October. ACL fully torn off, LCL, PCL, meniscus, all torn. And when it happened, I didn't even realize that it was torn. I thought maybe it was just like overstretched. There was no swelling, nothing. Like, yeah, it hurt. It hurt for like 30 seconds. And then I was like, oh, it's fine. And then I was like, I couldn't really put weight on it. But by the 4th day, it was pretty much fine. There was no bruising. I had my doctor friend come and see me immediately after it happened. He looked at it and everything. And he was like, oh, yeah, I think it's fine. It's probably overstretched. I'm like, yeah, that's what I think too. He's like, but for safety, go get an MRI. I went and got an MRI. And to all of our surprise, my ACL was fully torn off. And everything else is all torn. Every CL in here is torn. So he was just like shocked. And I was able to move around. I'm able to do single leg pistol squats. I'm able to cut corners and everything with this knee being how badly torn it is. And I went to this doctor, and this one doctor tried to get me to do surgery, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do surgery because I literally just got signed to MLW. So I was
first female sign, right?
Yep, first female signed to the company. Wow. So, but unfortunately, I'm freaking injured, and it sucks. So I'm like, I'm not going to go get surgery. That would guarantee me being out for at least a year. So I didn't want to get surgery, and that doctor made me do a series of things. He goes, okay, well, do this. I did it. He's like, do this. I did it. Do this. And I was able to do everything. So even he was like, well, I mean, I guess we can't force you to do surgery if you don't want to do it. There is a small percentage of people that can operate with no ACL. And then I went to my PT doctor, Jason Park. Shout out Jason Park. He is the PT guy, and he trains Muay Thai for like Anderson Silva, Brian Ortega, like all these big UFC fighters. And even he said that I was a coper. Like they call them people who can deal with like no ACL coper. Yeah. So with proper physical therapy training, it will go back to normal. Because with this one, that's what I did. Never had an issue since.
Wow.
So that's why I don't believe in surgery.
Wow.
And I know I can fix it. It's just a matter of how much time I want to put into it.
Yeah.
Like if I'm like right now, when this happened, I was much lighter. I was much stronger. I'm older now. Recovery is going to be a little slower. Sure. And because this one I fixed in 3.5 weeks. But I did go balls to the wall also. I did this one step up exercise for an hour straight with no rest every day for 3.5 weeks. Yeah. And I fixed it. Never had an issue since then. But this one, I would have to do the same thing to strengthen it a lot. And I probably should be losing weight because I'm really heavy right now. So it's also a little bit different. And I'm older. So, but the thing is, it's not impossible for me to fix this. Yeah. Maybe for someone else they would have to, but I'm one of the lucky ones that don't.
And that's also good that you didn't get surgery and you listened to your gut, because no one knows your body more than yourself. People can give you all the advice they want, but no one knows your body more. Like what might work for you won't work for me. Yes. So, you just got to feel it out. And that's, if you're a firm believer that you don't need surgery, then don't do it.
Exactly. Like, I feel like I'm not going to want to get surgery until maybe I'm like super old. And if I don't the reason why my knee stays in is all the muscles around it. Yeah. It keeps it in. So at some point, when I'm old, if I start getting lazy and don't want to work out, it'll probably come out, but by then technology is going to be amazing. So
it'll be fine.
Like I'll deal with it later. Right now, as it's still working, why get surgery when it's working? Yeah.
So WWE had gave you the green light and they finally signed you, and then you moved from here to Orlando.
Yep.
And what was your experience like there?
It was.
Did I meet you there? I feel like I met you there.
I felt like so I wasn't sure if I had met you at Manny's place.
Oh man. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
maybe.
so that was you.
Yeah.
That was you in the hoodie, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, because I was literally debating with Zaya like way back when this happened because we were hanging out at Manny's place. Manny,
And like Shinsuke was there. Was he there or no?
was he there? No, Sasha was there.
Okay.
Sasha was there. Shinsuke might have been there before we got there because me and Zaya got there later.
Okay.
And is Manny Kalisto?
Yeah, Kalisto. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So we were at Manny's place at a barbecue, and yeah, you were like by the pool. Were you by the pool in the hoodie?
Yeah, I was always one of the guys like I just stay to myself. I don't.
Okay,
mean no
it was
harm.
you. Okay, it was
I'm
you.
like quiet, but I'm not like being like stuck up or anything. I'm just very quiet. That's why like I'm friends with Manny, Sasha, because I know Sasha from back in like the Boston area. But like people know my demeanor. People might think it's cocky, but I'm just a shy, quiet guy. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
shy, quiet.
Yeah,
That's how I am
shy,
actually.
yeah.
No, I didn't get that vibe from you at all. It was more so like because you were in a hoodie. Like I didn't know how. Like when I saw you later, I didn't realize how jacked you are. So I was because you're all covered in the hoodie. I'm like. Is that him? And plus, like half your face was covered. So I was like, I wasn't really sure because I literally just met you, but we had already been friends on Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah, so we didn't officially meet till it was at Manny's place.
Okay.
And you were all covered up, like,
Yeah,
like you were
he
trying
was
to like
literally
build your
like-
own room.
It was
don't know
literally
why.
like he was like by the pool in like all gray hoodie, and
I don't
he was
know
just
why.
like this. And then he came and like talked, but by then it was like nighttime, so it was dark out, and he was like halfway covered, and I can't see his body, so I didn't know if it was him. I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe it's some other dude.
Yeah.
And so, but Zaya was like, no, I think that's him. I was like, I'm not really sure. Like.
That's funny.
Now I know. So it was you. Now I got the confirmation. Yeah, so that's when we officially met. But we had already been friends on Instagram.
Sure.
So yeah.
And then like your NXT experience, like what was it like for you?
It was very confusing.
Oh, how so?
I went there not like I don't come from a pro wrestling background. So everything that I went into, when I went into it, I had the martial arts mentality. And I thought like, you know, that's just how it is. And when I went in, it was like, I don't know. I felt like what I learned, a big thing I feel like as a martial artist is if you mess up on something, like own it. You call yourself out. It's like, oh, I fucked up. Let me do it again. Like it's like that. You call yourself out. But I feel like that's not a good thing to do there because when you're training, if you fuck something up, you just go with it.
Yes.
You don't say anything, even if it's just practice. Like, of course, I'm not gonna do it during a match.
Yes.
But like, I do it during practice to let them know, like, I know I fucked up and I'm gonna do it again. But I don't think that they really like that. They just saw it like, oh, like I later found out that other people that they fucked up, they're like, yeah, I just didn't say anything. They didn't say anything back. I was like, oh, so you just don't say anything? Like, why not? Like, why don't you
Don't
just call
you
your, like,
wanna
own
get
up
better?
to your, don't you want to get better? Like, don't you want to own up to your shit?
Yeah.
But it's not like that. So that was one thing. Another thing was you're not supposed to, even though I wasn't even like a storyline on TV, I wasn't allowed to post about me being sick or injured. Like I got in trouble for that, but I felt like they were being really the
Twitter police were after you?
They were super like that. Like
I've been
every week at least twice. It was so fucking annoying. Like twice a week for some bullshit. So there was a photo of me where I'm literally in a one piece. It doesn't show anything. I'm literally a side view. That's it. In a one piece. My freaking gear is a one piece, okay? So then I got in trouble and they had this, I don't know who said something, but the social media guy, Justin, had to come up and tell me, hey, you need to take that down. It's too risque. I was like, the fuck? Like, of course I didn't say that. I was thinking, what the fuck? Like, legit, like, other people are showing, like, half their vagina like in their little string bikini and their like side boobs all out. I don't show anything. I'm getting in trouble like twice a week, every single week. I'm having something said. I have another photo. I'm literally in a normal crop top, like sleeve crop top.
Yeah.
And then bikini bottoms. That's full coverage bikini bottom, a front view. It doesn't even show an ass, like nothing.
Yeah.
Said I couldn't have that photo up. I was like,
wow.
And
how did they justify that? Still too risque?
They said too risque.
Oh,
it was
my
too
gosh.
risque. And so I was just like, okay. But after several months, when they realized like how I was, they chilled out and they were cool. But it was still like, but then every once in a while they would still, get upset for certain things. Like, for example, when I first got there, I ended up getting the flu. I was like super sick. And then I went to a doctor, and an outside doctor. He told me I had to go to an outside doctor. So I went to a doctor, and the doctor like looked at me, and then I was better within a week. So within a week, I was already ready to come back, but I needed a doctor's note, and that doctor was out of town. She was on vacation. So they wouldn't let me even come to the PC. They're like, you can't even come in. I'm like, I can't even just come and watch. Like, so then I had to miss almost a full month of training. And then I missed fucking WrestleMania, the one in Orlando, WrestleMania 33. I was so pissed. Like, miss WrestleMania. And of course I was upset. I took a selfie where I was like, sucks being sick. I wish I could train. And then I got in trouble for that selfie. Just saying that I'm sick and I wish I could train. And then I got in trouble for showing my feet in some water in the doctor's thing. So it was just like things like that. But then I see people be able to post stuff while they're in the PC all the time when I'm not allowed to.
Yeah.
And
that's
I mean,
weird.
I don't know if it's just one of those, like, I heard that within wrestling they test you a lot.
Yep.
And I wonder if that's one of the things.
You just never know. I mean, I'm 18 plus doing this. You just never know.
Yeah, I wonder if they were just like...
media. I was doing media for, I feel like my lips are dry. Sorry. I was doing media for WWE LA Clippers game, and then the next day I got released, So you just never know. You're working for them, and then the next day you get the call. And I can tell people I might have done something bad, but like I didn't do anything bad, so you just never know.
And that was actually the first day we hung out too.
Yeah.
Like, we just met, and he's like, "Oh, like I have like this thing for Staples Center, but like Monday, Monday, let's like work out maybe before I go to Raw or something like that." And then I was like, "Oh my god, cool! I get to work out with Darren Young."
Yeah.
I get in the car. He was doing his best to, because he knew how excited I was.
Yeah.
So he didn't want to rain my parade. But I got in the car and he's like, "Listen, you're probably gonna hear this from WWE or anything like that. But I just got released." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, how do I handle this?" Because I know that he was in his like low point,
Yeah.
So I was just trying to cheer him up the whole time during the workout, and I just told him to think positive, and everything worked out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. You just never know with life, man, in general.
Yeah, I mean, talking to like staff there who, handles all the behind the scenes stuff, they always say at the end of the day, it's a business. And if they feel like they can't use you for something or the timing, the market, stuff that you can't even control, they have to release you. And because it's like more money they have to spend, it comes down to that, because literally I see the trend and it makes sense. So the reason why they pulled me in so early, 6 months early, was because the Chinese are coming. And because I'm Chinese, they wanted to push me with them. But they were trying to get into China at the time. It didn't go so well. So next thing you know, when we first got there, the first 6 months was amazing. Like we had our own camera crew. They filmed us for promos all the time. Like we were the only people that had our own camera crew that would film us for content specifically to push to China.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, because they went on tour over there, it didn't go well. Our camera crew's gone. Oh. We don't get any attention. No one's paying attention to us.
How come it didn't go well? The talent that they were searching for? What happened?
So it's really... WWE's trying to get into China because they're trying to copy NBA and their success over there. But the problem is they don't know the culture very well, and there is like, you gotta think about Chinese history with their kung fu and stuff, and when they're watching wrestling, the style just doesn't really fit what they like. They feel like, they say it's too fake or whatever, you know, they don't like how it is. And when they had the show out there, I guess because it wasn't TVs, there was a lot of people that was like not trying very hard when they were wrestling. So literally someone would kick someone, they'd be like this far away. And then the other person, so even the fans that were there, they were saying shit like, oh, this is so fake, like what the fuck, you know, they were saying stuff like that. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for the Chinese talent that actually got to go over there. They said they went there, they invited their family and their friends, and then having to sit there and hear their own friends and family and all the Chinese audience like talk shit about it, it was very embarrassing for them to be there.
And Asians don't sugarcoat anything.
No, they don't sugarcoat shit. They'll straight up tell you you're fat. Like, they don't care.
And they say it with a smile on their face sometimes. Like, when I come back and they're like, oh, you gained a little weight, huh?
Yeah.
Like, I'm supposed to be like, uh-huh.
Yeah, you know, I'm fat, I know. Like, you know, like, it's like that. So it's that, and also because they're, especially China, I feel like they're very prideful of their culture and their country. So they want to show something that has more than just a Chinese face. Like and at the time, none of the Chinese people wrestled there because they were new too. They had just started. So no one actually got and wrestled there. And I think Tian Bing, I don't know if he wrestled. I forgot if he wrestled or he just did a promo and stuff. But basically, it didn't go as well as they had wanted.
So there's no underground wrestling promotion in China?
Now they are. There is. Now there is. It's been really recent.
Recent, huh?
But
I might follow them on social media. Some of the organizations or one of the organizations in China.
Yeah, so right now the one that I go to there is MKW, Middle Kingdom Wrestling. It's run by an American though. So because he's an American that's lived in China for 10 years. Yeah. And he's married to a Chinese woman. So he understands the pro wrestling side of pro wrestling. Right. And then he understands the Chinese culture, so he knows how to put it together.
Nice.
Because there's been other companies like OWE, which is a fully Chinese company that I went there for my first Asian tour. Wow. I was out there for 3 months. And when I was out there, it was like they don't understand pro wrestling at all, but they understand what Chinese people like to see. It's more of the kung fu style. And so all their wrestlers are literally Shaolin Temple martial artists kids that they hired. So they like that part of it. But it's like WWE doesn't understand the culture that much. And they hired this person to run WWE China. And they literally only had to deal with one show out of the whole damn year. They just had to work on marketing and promoting one show out of the whole year. They did not do a good job. And there was literally no media coverage. The only media coverage was like literally some small time bullshit media coverage that's there. So because of that, like, and also just the Chinese government in general, the president there, he doesn't like pro wrestling. He doesn't like WWE because from what he remembers it, because they used to have WWE back in China back in the day. Wow. But it was during the Attitude Era. And they're just like, oh, this is way too like sexual or too whatever. So
they're more conservative.
They're very conservative. Yeah. So he was like, no, we want to deal with peacefully. We don't want sex and all this stuff and cussing. Yeah. So in his mind, he sees it as, even though it's changed, like he still doesn't want that. Yeah. And plus, on top of that, you need to have connections there to get anywhere. It's like, how it works. I mean, it works anywhere, but more so with China. It's like if you don't have a lot of money or if you don't have connections, you're not going to get anywhere there.
Right. I mean, just like we say, it's a business. You know, they're over Saudi, a 10-year deal, $450 million. It is what it is. I mean, they're making moves out there, but it's a business.
Yeah, that's what it is. So we see the trend, and it's like we get there, they treat us like freaking awesome, And then it didn't work out. Then we're like nobodies.
Yeah.
Then next thing you know, the people that came after us was the Indians because they were trying to go into India. That's when Jinder Mahal became champ because they were trying to go in there.
Right.
And then when that didn't go well, he's not champion anymore.
Yeah.
So then after that was the Middle Eastern people that came because they did the Saudi Arabia deal. So literally you see these people come in waves. And it's literally all business.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that you can't control. It's the market.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't go well, then your job's on the line.
Yes.
You know, so there's a lot of that going on. And
Did you struggle with promos at all, or did you get it like that?
I thought I was pretty good at promos actually. But the
Did
thing
you
is,
have help? Did you work with Dusty at all, or were you down there when he was alive? Dusty
no,
Rhodes? Oh,
I
okay.
didn't know. The promo person that was there was Katz.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, so he was there, but I don't feel like I got a lot of help with my promo. Like every single time after my promo was done, they're just like, "Oh, it's good, it's good," and I'm just like, "Can I get more feedback?"
Yeah,
like,
no critique, no nothing.
Yeah, like no critique, and I had a lot of trouble trying to figure out a character there. So I really didn't have a character because the issue was when I got hired. One of the main reasons why they hired me was they liked my background because of
The MMA,
martial arts and modeling, acting, dance, and music. They're like, oh, you'd be perfect because you have such a vast background.
Yes.
But then when I show up, I wasn't allowed to do anything that was me. They always preach, be yourself, be yourself.
But not like
Oh
that.
but you can't do this, you can't do that. Like
Yeah.
literally be myself. I straight asked if I could do the MMA thing. That's my whole background.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I was hired. They said I couldn't because Daria, which I'm friends with Daria, you know, but
yes.
we're like different people, and she also.
I'm friends with Finn Balor too, but when they released me, and then months later they embraced the LGBTQ movement on him.
I was so confused. I saw that.
Yeah, and he's a friend of mine, and I've said it on my podcast, our podcast, and like, it is what it is. You know, they put it on him because if it doesn't make dollars, it don't make sense. You know, he's got the machine behind him, so you can put the colors on him, and then they'll buy into it, and then they'll donate money to GLAAD. It is what it is.
Yeah, that's how it
is.
ends up working out. So
Yeah.
they told me I couldn't be the MMA fighter.
Right.
They told me I couldn't be the singer because Elias Sampson was the singer.
Yeah, but there's no woman singer.
I know, but I told them if I could do the pop singing character. They said no. That Elias was the was the singer, even though
I'm gonna put my fist through this wall.
I'm just like, what the? Totally different genre and totally different. Him and I were totally different.
Yeah.
And then they said I couldn't be the dancer because Lana's the dancer.
No, she's not. Lana? When has she ever danced?
That's what they told me. She said she does this thing when she comes out for the entrance where
maybe she
does
twirls.
the twerking.
Yeah, see?
What?
See?
Yeah.
Hey, it is
So
what it is.
they said that she was a dancer, so I wasn't allowed
That's
to be
bull.
the dancer. They told me I wasn't allowed to be the model because Mandy Rose is the model. Totally different model. Like I was gonna go the import model route because that's what I actually did. And then they told me I wasn't allowed to be Chinese.
No.
They told me I wasn't
That's
allowed to be
ridiculous.
Chinese. So when I first got there, they told me that they were gonna push me in the Chinese market, which I was fine with because the thing is, I don't come from a pro wrestling background. I'm not gonna compare to people who are doing it for 15 years.
Sure.
I would never stand out with them. So to push me in a Chinese background was more of an advantage for me because then I get more time.
Sure.
But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they just told me they were going to keep me in the U.S. market, which I don't know why, but I feel like it would hurt me because now I'm up against all these other people.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I'm getting taken off of promos with the Chinese people. Like, it just got to a point where I'm just like, okay, I'm getting like nothing on both sides.
Wow.
So then, on top of that's the reason why I went during my Mae Young Classic match. That's why they announced me from Richmond, Virginia, but then I was representing China, so I had two flags. Because they were trying to use me to kind of go help promote China, but then they wouldn't consider me Chinese because literally they asked me where I wanted to be billed from. And I'm like, can I say I'm billed from Shanghai? And they're like, oh no, the internet's very transparent these days. You can't lie about where you're from. I was just like, everyone lies about where they're from.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it is like that. But it wasn't until my release when I've talked to staff and people that like handles contracts and all that stuff. I feel like that I was just never someone they wanted to push. I was just there to help with the Chinese talent. I feel like I got used to, which I'm fine with, I guess. You know, I am sad about the fact that, like, I felt like, oh, I finally got, because it was always, in a way, a dream to be in WWE.
Sure.
I just never went that route because I didn't think it was possible. So I told myself no off the bat. But when I realized, oh my gosh, I'm getting a tryout and I got signed, like, that was when I was like, man, my dream is possible. But then it was just kind of like, I was being used to translate for them. I'm getting pulled out of my own training to go translate for them. I did everything for them.
Yeah.
I wrote everyone's promos. I wrote all their promos, and then I taught them English. I taught them how to drive. I got them their freaking license. I got them their credit cards, phone card, did all their bills for them, like everything for them. And I'm not getting paid for that.
Yes,
None of it. And I thought to myself, you know what? I don't mind taking lower pay than them, just to show them that I'm worth something to the company.
Yeah.
But then it's like, even coaches like see me like getting pulled out all the time, missing my own training. And even when I'm in promo class, like I felt I did pretty well in promo class, but I know I could have done better. Because during my promos, I have wrote all these promos for all of them. It's all 8 of them, okay? I'm writing my own promo and their promo. That's 9 promos I had to do every Sunday.
Yeah.
And then I had to teach them how to speak. I had to go through each person, teach them how to say this promo. And then they would come up to me literally the day of promo and ask me all these questions when I'm trying to memorize my own promo.
Sure.
So I'm just like getting really annoyed having to do all that. I'm just like, why didn't you guys ask me questions? Why didn't you study this the night before?
Right.
They were bothering me during my promo.
Right.
So like, there's been a few times where I forgot my promo where I should not have forgotten it.
Yeah.
But then towards the end, when thankfully towards the end, Steve Carino came into the promo class and he helped and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it actually helped me have some more time to deal with my promo. And I told them, I'm like, don't come up to me during my promo. And I've just learned to be more like about me.
Sure.
And then my promo improved. But the thing is, like, promo was never felt like was an issue for me. It was more so, I felt like the character wouldn't be an issue for me if I had some direction.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I never got any insight.
Sure.
I was like, well, can I do this? And it was always like, no's. It was all no's, but never a yes or maybe this. Like I've had to have meetings and ask a few times, and they're like, yeah, you could try that, but it was never like a definite yes. Yeah, I can try it, but something is always
followed
maybe
up with something
or
else.
I'm just like, okay, so it just kind of left me kind of confused.
And is that the reason why you guys went your separate ways after that? You were just fed up with WWE?
No, I got released because of injury.
Oh.
So I was injured, and then I think it was several reasons on top of that. It was injury, and it was also, it was after the tour didn't go well in China already, and on top of that, they were preparing for a UK tour because I got released on a day that wasn't release day. Yeah, so literally they didn't know about it. The guy who handles the contract in there, he didn't even know about it until an hour before. And so they literally told me like on last minute thing.
Right.
So it is what it is. But the thing is, like, I know I got used. He even admit I got used. Like the person who deals with all the inside stuff with the money knows I got used. Straight up told me if they hired someone to do translations for them just in WWE, during training, not even outside when I'm doing all this other shit for them. I was driving them to and from shows 3 times a week for 6 months. Wow. Like, it's exhausting. Like, you know, the schedule is like insane. The schedule is insane. I literally have no time for myself. So barely any sleep, having to drive them back and forth because no one had their licenses. And then I had to use my own car to drive them back and forth. On top of that, mileage and gas that I had to pay.
Well, you didn't get no gas money from
Nope.
them? No, that's not
Nope.
right.
Didn't get anything from. So it was like fucking bullshit. So they told me to hire someone to do what I did just at the PC would have cost them $100,000 a year. So of course they're gonna pay me less than half of that a year, and then all the stuff I was doing, and that also explains why they wanted me in there early, because they were coming. It was
right.
Now it was also the same thing that happened for Ho Ho. So Ho Ho Loon, the other Chinese guy that was there who knew English, he's been doing pro wrestling for like 10 years he trained in Japan, and then he brought it to China with him. So he knows what he's doing. And when he went there, they just put him in squash matches and like used him as a translator. So he was really upset, and he ended up quitting. So that's, I just feel like at the end of the day, it's a business. Some people, they just don't see as the people they want to push.
Yeah.
Unless something comes along where they feel like they need you, but it wasn't the timing for me.
Right.
And the injuries didn't help at all.
And also, you'll never, like I said before, you never know in life. Sometimes one door closes and another door opens, but it might be the same door that opens. Might not be your final relationship with WWE. You're still young, and if that's something that you want to pursue, then it can still be possible. But obviously, it's really cool for you because you're multi-talented and super diverse. Again, you mentioned with your music and your singing, and you can pursue any other aspect you want in life, and because you have the talent. And just looking at it from the glass half full, at the end of the day, it's other than all your talents, it's really nice to have that former WWE superstar
definitely
absolutely.
I mean, I learned so much there. I don't regret what happened.
Yeah.
It just I wish it didn't happen that way.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, being there was a huge experience in itself, because I knew nothing about wrestling going in. I didn't know what I was dealing with. It was actually not only a lesson in wrestling, but it was like a life lesson too. I learned a lot of how to deal with people in the entertainment industry and how the business side of things work. And it's actually helped me build a lot of connections. Like, I wouldn't know you if it wasn't for WWE. It wouldn't even... If it wasn't for WWE, I wouldn't even be able to do pro wrestling right now.
Right.
Like, I would have to start from absolute zero in the pro wrestling world.
Yeah.
Which, I know how much they have to go through for that, So I'm really glad I got to go through that, because I learned a lot. And now being out on the indie circuit and MLW, it's like, I know what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't even know what I'd be doing. I'd probably still be chasing MMA or music and stuff like that. But this has allowed me to travel the world, meet cool people, build an awesome fan base. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It might not be my time, but maybe in the future, if China starts, getting better in their pro wrestling, they might want me back there, because I know the industry over there now.
Yeah.
So you never know, but it's not the end all be all. So that's why I was like, I'm going to keep wrestling. I'm going to keep doing this. And if one day I end up back there, awesome. If not, I got a great experience out of it. Even though it was confusing, but it's like, it's not all bad. I had opportunities there. I was thankful to be in Mae Young. There was 2 TV matches, but it wasn't storyline, but it was all learning experience. Like, having to see how the production works and how they do everything, all these cameras and stuff like that. I mean, it's really cool. It's not something that anyone could just go and get to see how it works.
Right.
People usually have to, go do all these intern work or whatever to just be able to see behind the scenes. Yeah. So learn a lot. Definitely.
That's awesome.
Well, I mean, I got released in 2017, and recently they invited me back. John Cone had called me back for WrestleMania Access. So,
yeah, that's only 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, so
you just never know.
Yeah, you just never know. I didn't burn any bridges. I just, the podcast has been therapy for me, and we got to keep it moving. After your release, you did you start with MLW and any other major organizations?
So I went to MLW, then I went over to, then I was like pretty much gone all year, all of 2019, yeah, in Asia. So I was in OWE mainly, and then...
Did you do any work for Singapore Pro Wrestling?
I did.
You did?
It was amazing, yeah.
Yeah, I'm still working with them. I was supposed to do something with them in November, but I had a show in New Jersey for a coach of mine that I wrestled for, so I had to postpone my trip to Singapore. First time trip ever to Southeast Asia. That's always been a goal of mine. I've wrestled all over the world, but I never wrestled anywhere in Southeast Asia. So of course, I want to work hard, play hard. We talked that, okay. But that's like another episode. Maybe. But yeah, I want to go out there and wrestle because at the end of the day, wrestling's entertainment, but I love to wrestle. I love to exchange holds and do all that grappling and all that stuff. And Japan's a place to be, so hopefully it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely should go out there. The fan base is amazing. They're great. They're like true wrestling fans, but they don't really get wrestling out there. So they will search the whole internet for whatever wrestling they can get. And they literally watch everything.
And they're so probably respectful, huh?
Super respectful.
Yeah, I found 10 people from Singapore Pro Wrestling, referees, I think fans, but yeah.
And they are very supportive. They buy all your merch. They're great. Bring a lot of merch out there. Bring a lot of merch out there. They are amazing.
No, I will. But you doing these signings, have they been good experiences? Have you been able to network with your fan base?
Yeah, I love it. It's great because a lot of times it's I don't know where these fans come from. I'm just oh, okay. I'm how, where did you come from? I'm not really sure, but it's really cool to be able to meet them finally.
Yeah.
And it's that's another thing I'm thankful for with WWE. It's if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to get a fan base elsewhere. Sure. I'm sure all my international fan base is because of WWE.
Right.
So, yeah, they would all hit me up and stuff. And then when I went out to Singapore or, to Taiwan and all these other places, getting to meet them, they're oh yeah, I'm so glad I saw your match at Mae Young and whatever else. I was just oh my gosh, that's so cool that it's reaching people on the other side of the world.
Right.
So
you better ride it and be proud until the wheels come off. Be proud of all those experiences.
Yeah, it literally, I wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for, this whole WWE experience, but it's been pretty cool. But having all those people in different fan base from elsewhere and they just see everything and they end up seeing the Singapore fans.
Yes.
They'll probably search up all your indie matches too. They'll probably have watched all of it.
Yeah, they probably would.
Super into it.
Yeah, the person that replaced me was Tajiri.
Oh, yeah.
In November, so I was just so devastated, man. But eventually, I'll get out there.
Yeah.
You'll still get out there.
Yeah,
you'll get out there.
I'll get out.
The promoter's cool. He's super cool. SPW, right?
The Statement.
Yep.
That's his name? Yeah,
the
Statement.
Yeah. He's cool.
I talked to him and bullshit with him and stuff like that. So I think him and I were going to wrestle. But yeah, we'll see. But any current projects you have working on now or anything you want to plug?
Not really actually because my injury, I'm basically focusing on trying to get better.
Yes.
Because definitely want to go back and wrestle for MLW.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't wrestle until I get a doctor's note.
Yes.
So focus on injury, I guess mainly working on, I'm going back on Twitch soon.
Twitch, okay.
Yeah, going back on Twitch. I started it and then I got so busy touring that I wasn't on it.
Yes.
So that's really it. And then I'm visiting my family. So,
nice.
I mean, the wrestling thing, I don't have anything too big coming up. I am wrestling on Malaysia in June.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, so it'll be fun.
Have you been there before?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's for MKW. So, yeah, I'll be there wrestling and stuff. But I'm kind of being careful with wrestling matches because I do want this knee to heal.
Sure. Yes.
But I am doing signings. I'm open to signings.
Great.
So that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy your IG stories. We always crack up because her IG stories, 1 minute you have a stripper pole, people like stripping, and then the next frame is like very wholesome, maybe with kids or something. Just for an example, like
gotta do it for the kids.
Yeah, just like your stories are incredible, but I mean,
it's all aspects of you, which is cool.
Yeah, I feel like that's important. You know, I see this as, you know, I come from an art background, so I want to be able to express myself.
Sure.
And, you know, that's also the thing why I like pro wrestling so much. It's literally everything about you expressed into one.
Yeah.
I get to like just merge it all together, like film. Yeah. You know, that's what's cool about it. But that's why here it is.
Do you have any questions?
No, I think we covered it all.
I mean, seriously, it's been like a dynamite episode. Like, I mean, the women's evolution.
Yeah.
I mean, do you see yourself like really doing something with the women's evolution? Like when you get healthy, do you want to really like go to the moon with that?
Definitely. I mean, I think that's really important.
Representation is so important.
Yeah, it really is. Especially since like I know how it's like being in a sport that's mainly dominated with guys.
Yes.
Especially with like when I was doing MMA, it's like not even having things for me. You know, I try to search up what to do as a female athlete that have to deal with her period, because that affects your performance actually.
Yes.
There was no articles on it back then. Now they're starting to get articles on it, and it's just like, wow, they're really recognizing that women are athletes in whatever industry, and now they're helping them with every little thing for it. And I think that's really important because not having the resources really suck.
Sure.
So now seeing that and having to be able to have the means to pave the way and help like make this boom for other athletes, other female athletes, it's a big thing. It's like I think it would be life-changing. It would be something that allows women to be able to be like, hey, I want to pursue my career as an athlete. Maybe I don't have to go and be a freaking waitress, model, or fashion. I don't know, whatever girls like to do.
Hairstylist.
Whatever, hairstylist, makeup artist, like whatever girl fashion stuff like to do.
Yes. I mean, thank you for joining us. We
Yeah,
finally did it. We finally did it.
I know,
it.
It's been forever trying
I mean,
match your schedule.
Yeah, we're making moves. We knocked it out. So, like, thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
And thank you guys so much for listening and watching. And if you guys are watching us on YouTube, make sure you guys comment. And if you guys are listening to us on iTunes, give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear, and give us a review so we can know what we can do better. And until then,
block the hate, salute the great.